You have to know about the mechanics of gunshot injuries in order to understand terminal ballistics, and that's what happens when the projectile strikes the target. You have penetration. You have permanent cavitation that's created as the bullet goes through the target, temporary cavitation as a result of the energy being transferred to your target, and bone fragmentation and how that can be impacted upon. So we'll look briefly at those things. First, there's penetration. You have a bullet that strikes the skull. As a result, you're going to have fracturing occur. The first fractures are going to move from the point of impact out from that in the direction of continued travel. So you don't normally have fractures in front of the impact zone. You could have some small ones, but the more tangible or angled it becomes the point of impact, the more that fracturing is in front of your target. Then you have permanent cavitation. Permanent cavitation is the tissue damage that happens as the projectile actually transverses the tissue. It crushes it, it shears it, it can shred it, and following that, you can look at x-rays or MRIs, and you can actually see the, I said x-rays, I don't mean that, I mean CTs. And you can see the damage, and this is an example of that. So you can see right here, this is where the permanent tract was, and that other area that you see in white is showing the temporary cavitation. So temporary cavitation is something that's going to occur as a result of that energy being transferred to your tissue upon the impact of the weapon, and it is easily demonstrated by looking at ballistic gel, and that's what this is right here. Could you start that for me? You see that large area that opens up? That is the temporary cavity that occurs. And it doesn't really matter what type of ammunition you have, you're still going to have cavitation. It may not be the same size that you're looking at here. It may not be as extreme, but the higher the velocity, and this is traveling at over 3,000 feet per second, the more exaggerated it would become. I think I have another example of that if you would start that one for me. This is 2,200 feet per second. And again, you can see that it is quite extreme. Now, this cavitation also occurs inside the head. The problem is you have an enclosed